Tell him, McCluskey. Tell him what time it is.
I'm sweet. Ooh, baby.
All right. Let's go. 3, 2, 1. And welcome back to the Reserve Orange Peelers Sports Podcast. My name is Joshua Freeman, and joining me in another week, another fortnight of lockdown via Zoom is Kyle Weeks, the co-host. Kyle, how are you doing in these uncertain times of the country's capital right now?
To be honest, getting pretty bored, but still finding some things to do to pass the time, but it's all for the greater good, isn't it?
Yes, it's definitely for the greater good. And I think being a sports nerd, it goes two ways in the sense that you're bored because you can't play sport, you can't be as active, you can't play team sports with people. But then you get more time to watch sports that you might not get the time in the normal day-to-day busy life. So there's more time to watch sports, but less time to play. So it's a hard thing to balance. I don't know which is better. For me, I'm struggling not being able to play, but I am getting a chance to really sit down and watch more sports. So it goes hand in hand.
Yeah, it's definitely an upside. I know that my golfing short game is going to be a lot better coming out. Being able to chip one around the backyard is pretty much the only thing we can do sport-wise at the moment.
I've heard you've already killed 3 birds in your backyard.
Yeah, and I actually took my shin out the other day. We concocted a little driving range net in the backyard, and I've spliced one off the iron straight into the wooden beam back into the shin. I've still got the welt there, so plenty of way to go on my golf game.
Yes, of course. You had plenty way to go anyway, but from the sounds of it, you've gone backwards. But we'll move on to a fact of the week. Kyle, what have you got for us in this lockdown?
Just a nice simple one this week. I don't want to overload the brain. I know I've had some complex ones the last few weeks, but Josh, did you know that the orange is the largest citrus fruit in the world? The biggest, the most powerful, the most dominant, the largest, the physically largest.
Oh, so pretty similar to me.
It's the Ronnie Coleman of the oranges. It's the me of the podcast.
Yeah, well, I think we all knew that oranges were dominant. That's why we picked it. We're not the Reserve Lemon podcast. We're not the Reserve Mandarin podcast. We're the Reserve Orange Peelers podcast. Let's go, baby. Thank you, Kyle, for that fact, and I hope everyone picks up an orange and feels dominant and powerful wherever they are, because we are, as a whole, oranges are a dominant species of citrus fruit.
The dominant fruit for a dominant people.
Exactly. And that's what we all are, the listeners and the runners of the podcast. All right, let's get into the weekly wrap. There's a bit of a weird week in sports. Obviously, no Premier League, no main leagues of football because we have international break, which has brought up some cool stories as well, like Ronaldo scoring 2, just showing how timeless of a footballer he really is. In the Portugal versus Ireland game earlier in the week. But my eyes have been on the Paralympics. It is the closing day today on the Sunday. And before we get into the wrap, though, about the Paralympics, just a huge shout out to all the dads out there. It is Father's Day. It's a weird Father's Day being in lockdown, but kind of I think for Father's Day might work in a sense if it's available. You can spend more time with your father during lockdown. If it's not available, heart goes out to everyone who can't see their fathers today. But massive shout out to any dads who listen to the podcast. Have a great day, and you're always appreciated, especially in the world of sports. And I know our dads are going to be appreciated today. So they play a big part of our sporting journey and our life journey in general. But anyway, just a shout out to the dads out there. Kyle, did you have anything to say to your dad?
No, you summed it up pretty well. And Dad, I hope you enjoy the feast tonight. We've got a spread on.
Let's go. All right. So yeah, moving to the Paralympics, our last day, it has been absolutely amazing. I'm going to go back and watch a lot of it. The Prime 7 coverage of both the Olympics and the Paralympics has been absolutely unreal, and full access to everything. So I'm keen to go back and have a bit more time to watch a lot of the stories. But Aussies have been dominating the headlines of course, in the Aussie media, but we've just had a lot to be proud of and a lot to celebrate. Very successful Paralympics for us. And I just wanted to highlight 2 athletes that I've seen who just go like above and beyond. And I might even call him, he might be the number 1 athlete in Australia at the moment. In terms of his success worldwide and how hard it is in his sport. But Dylan Alcott gets another Paralympic gold in the tennis quads, completes the Golden Slam, or I can't remember what they're exactly called, but he's won all
the Gold Slam.
Yeah, won all the Grand Slams, wins the Paralympics games. He says this will be his last Paralympic games, but he goes out in absolute dominant fashion. I watched the first set. He was up 2-0 and then he got broken and he was down 5-3 and he came back and he won in tiebreak and then he won the second set easy. He is absolutely unreal. He gets hyped for every point. He gets hyped for the game, and he's a very proud Australian Paralympian, and we're proud to have him as an Australian representing us in one of the biggest competitions of the world. So absolute madman. Shout out to Dylan Alcott. Really, really proud to call him an Australian and represent us. So that was just really amazing to see his pure dominance of the sport, and he has got to be up there in the best athletes of the modern time in Australia at the moment.
Yeah, definitely, without question. I mean, just his tenacity and competitive spirit as well. Like, even when he was dropping points and having his serve broken and almost losing that first set, as you said, he didn't give up. He kept fighting. He came back and eventually won quite dominantly, really. I mean, he cleaned him up in the second set.
One thing that I noticed as well, really adaptable. Like the Dutch player on the other side was really targeting his own backhand as his winner, and Alcott was able to adapt to that and play more to the forehand side and force him forehand and then go backhand, surprisingly, for a lot of the points. So he just played a really, really adaptive game and really smart game of tennis. And it was just great to see him come out on top and add to a silver in the doubles as well. So yeah, real dominant performance from Dylan Alcott, which was expected, but it was great to see it come to fruition.
Yeah.
The other athlete that I wanted to shout out, there's plenty to shout out, but this morning, kind of breaking news, the podcast releasing is the women's marathon T54, Madison Di Rosario became gold medal by 1 second in the women's wheelchair marathon. And we have a few more medals coming our way, I hope, in the marathons today on the final day. But absolutely brilliant effort from Madison and winning by 1 second and getting Australia's first ever women's Paralympic gold in the marathon, or medal. Sorry, Paralympic medal.
Yeah, see, that's pretty massive. That's something she can definitely hold on to the rest of her sporting career, the rest of her life, to say she's the first to win a Paralympic medal in the marathon. That's huge.
The reigning champion came 5th, so she actually absolutely blew everyone out of the water and finished strong. And it was great to see in a marathon a tight finish at the end by 1 second. So, and we have Jared Clifton racing today. I talked to a bit about him on the podcast last week, but I learned more about the story. He qualified for the marathon because he accidentally broke the world record in training. So
yeah, that's ridiculous. Imagine being that good that you can just accidentally break a record.
Exactly. And he was only training for mainly going in the 5,000 and the 1,500 meters. So let's hope that he can seal the gold today with another gold medal. He's already got a silver, I believe, or a bronze in the 800 or 1,500. So it'd be great to see him come back with the gold. A great speaker and a great advocate for people with vision impairments in the sport. And a shout out to the women's goalball team winning their first ever, the Australian Bells winning their first ever game at a Paralympics and making the quarterfinals, bowing out to first ranked Turkey, but amazing effort from the Bells, and it was really great to see them kind of put a bit of history on the books and get their first win. So plenty of stories to unpack. We're probably going to do another Olympic segment for the Paralympics, so be in tune for that next week. But yeah, if you have a chance, make sure you go see the stories, because this is Olympics on crack. It's just like double.
Yeah, it's crazy. Just the amount of passion and the competitiveness and just the sheer will of some of these people to have overcome the difficulties that they face to compete at such a high level and be so successful as well for a lot of them. It's pretty inspiring. It's pretty incredible.
Amazing. All right. Well, that concludes my Paralympics. What else you got for the wrap?
So mine is a little bit of a different story this week. So over in the US, in college, not even college, in high school football. High school football. There's been a
deep cut.
There's been a bit of a saga going on with ESPN and a school that might not actually be a school. So there was a televised game on ESPN during the week between the IMG Academy, which is like a prestigious high school football academy with a lot of Division 1 prospects, had a nationally televised ESPN game against a school called Bishop Sycamore, which there's a big conspiracy now that it's not actually even a school, because what happened is that the game got televised. The IMG Academy team won 58-0. So just absolute pumped them. But the way that this all came about is that the Bishop Sycamore representatives had essentially told the ESPN broadcasters that they had a lot of Division 1 prospects and it would be like a very intriguing game, because the whole point of televising these games is that the teams with those high draft prospects get put on that platform so they can be seen by people, so that they can to get some media attention. So Bishop Sycamore has told ESPN they've got all these really high level prospects. So ESPN's bought it, put them on live TV, found out that they don't even have enough players to fill a roster. They had players playing in multiple positions. They played another game 2 days earlier, which is not very professional at all.
Yeah.
They had obviously a huge golfing class, being beat 58-0. So obviously no real Division 1 prospects. And then after the game, a bit more investigation happened into the quote unquote school. No one could actually find any information about the school, whether it's real or not. So there was a website for Bishop Sycamore.
What state is it in?
This is in, I think that they were from Ohio.
Okay.
I believe. Don't quote me on that, but I believe they said they're from Ohio. So after the game, everyone kind of went, well, who is this school? We've never heard of them. They've duped ESPN, like got themselves on TV just for nothing.
Yeah.
So people did some research into it. They found a website that had been quote unquote taken down for maintenance reasons, basically straight after the game. So there was no information there. Someone found an address. There were 2 addresses. One of them was the address for the Franklin University Library, and the second address was for a residential house, just a regular house on the corner of a street, where the listed school addresses. And just I've just never seen anything so crazy.
What would it be? A collective of people just trying to dupe ESPN, or?
Yeah, so I think that the way it all kind of started was a few years ago. It was set up as essentially like a youth off the streets type program, but it wasn't a school. It was more just like a program that was set up to help people that were in like bad situations and needed some assistance. And then it kind of from there, I'm not really sure exactly how it progressed, but they've put it together a team of people. Some people were saying that it looked like some of the players out there were 30 years old with busted knees and whatnot. So the legitimacy of it is up in the air completely. But I've never seen a story just quite so complex with so many layers to it.
Imagine if it was a setup by the other school to showcase how good they are.
If it was like a little double bluff, the IMG Academy has set up this fake school to play a game against them.
1, media attention. 2, they get to absolutely douse the team and show why their prospects are like Div 1 worthy.
You might be onto something here, because I don't see what there is, because it's not like they're making any money out of it. That like either school or Bishop Sycamore's not making any money out of it. So I don't see what
anymore.
what the upside is. Yeah, definitely not anymore. But I don't. That's worth looking into. That
theory. Yeah.
I mean, I feel like the IMG Academy would be good enough regardless, but it's a fair theory.
Would they get televised?
They would get some televised games, because they are like a high performance academy side, so they are set up to have Division 1 prospect players. But I mean, there's no better way to showcase your talent than go out and pump a team 58-0 on a weekend on a nationally televised game. But yeah, I saw multiple stories coming out throughout the week, and just every day there was just another layer to it. It's just crazy. I've never seen any kind of story quite like this.
Oh, well, so let's definitely follow that up and see what else comes out of it, because that's really interesting.
Yeah, so that's probably
I love that things like that can still exist today in a world of like accessibility and technology, is that people can still get tricked like that, because there's some examples of this throughout sporting history, where people have been tricked, or people have got the wrong person or signed the wrong person or whatever, because of accessibility and technology is not as good. That is unreal. That ESPN.
ESPN, not just like a local thing. No. ESPN, their broadcast to the world, has been tricked by a
Have they made a statement? Have they made a statement?
Well, essentially, ESPN tried to palm it off and say it wasn't actually us that signed them, because supposedly for their high school games they have like a third party called I think it's called Paragon Sports, who's responsible for the signing and broadcasting of those games. So it's ESPN's really tried to distance themselves and say it's not on us, it's on them. But I mean, they still got to tick off on this stuff.
The best thing that ESPN could do would be like, look, it might have been a mistake, but we gave these guys a chance to showcase what they're about. It might not have worked out, but seeing more people play the game is what we want to promote. There you go. You'll get people saying, "Oh, we only want to see the best sport on TV,"
just try and put some sort of positive spin on there.
Yeah, but then you get other people saying, "Oh, they actually gave them a chance." Imagine if they beat them. Imagine if they beat them and still found out that they weren't a proper school. Imagine that.
Yeah, well, it's probably not a chance of happening. I think their closest game has been like 37-14 loss is their closest to a win. So
they celebrate on.
It's hopeful, but there's always a chance.
Yeah, all right. Well, that's a really interesting story. We'll follow that up in the coming weeks, because
it's definitely worth a look, because there's more stuff coming out every day as people discover more and more about it all.
Imagine if they won, it would be like Hollywood would sign that story up straight away, I'd say.
Yeah, I reckon a couple of years, this will be like a Netflix original doco for sure, 100%.
They can take some of our audio excerpts out, because we were like the first to cover it.
Yeah, exactly. First.
All right. Anything else from the wrap from you?
No, that's pretty much it for me. Unless you've got anything else to tag on.
No, I'm gonna leave some footy talk to next week for the finals. But again, another kind of lackluster round of footy to conclude today, with not many changes in the 8, but just a mention of the Seagulls stealing that 4th place, and I might be going on that bandwagon for the rest of the finals, which goes against history of hating the Seagulls, but they're just playing unreal footy, and I don't really like any other clubs in the top 4, so let's see them get the job done. Or Penrith. Would love to see Penrith get a premiership.
basically anyone but Melbourne for you, isn't it?
Yeah.
And yeah, couldn't agree more. I've seen them win enough. I want to see someone different.
Yeah, they're just scrubs. Anyway, let's move to the Wheel of Wonder. And now, can you just do a little bit? I just got to get the wheel.
Have you? Oh, you've forgotten the wheel again. You've duped me. You're Bishop Sycamore and I'm ESPN. I've just been duped live on air.
You're Joel guy. I'm not going to make that mistake twice in a row. All right, ready?
Yeah, all right. Give it a spin. Jeez, big one today. It's gone around about 10 times. Is that 7? Yeah, 7.
Number 7.
CR7.
CR7. I can't wait to see him play Man U, even though I hate Man U.
Yeah, I can't wait for him to do his first celebration and the whole crowd go up. Number 7. What have we got today, Josh?
Number 7 today. Agree or disagree? Sport is not about competitiveness. It is about participation and cooperation.
It's about competitiveness. 100%.
I couldn't agree more. I couldn't disagree more with that statement.
Yeah.
Sport is not about competitiveness. It is about participation and cooperation. That I couldn't disagree with that more. And you got to look at it at different levels, right? Grassroots, small development football, under 5s, under 6s, under 10s, whatever.
Yeah.
Lower divisions, cooperation, participation, great. But sport wouldn't exist as a thing,
without competitiveness,
without being competitive, because no one would watch it if they didn't score it. No one would watch it if they didn't have a tier-based system like a ladder to rank teams. The competitiveness is what makes it a spectacle, what makes it entertaining.
Yeah.
Yes, and in a sense, professional sport, if you're looking at that, participation, it's not about participation at all, because it is unreally hard to make that level. So in a sense, it's not about participation at all, because you're denying so many people.
Yeah, you're denying people playing at that
level. What was the other word? Cooperation in a lot of sports is something that is necessary, but without competition, without competitiveness, cooperation isn't even needed, because you need to cooperate to be competitive. But if it wasn't competitive, then there was no need for cooperation.
Yeah.
Like it's not. Sport is for fun, yes, and you'd have to like break it down to certain levels. Some people would say, "Oh, it's just about participation and cooperation," but it shouldn't be, because I don't think no one would watch if it was.
Yeah. Yeah. So like at the base level, participation is the foundation building block. That's why people get involved to start with. But the thing that makes people keep coming back is the competitiveness.
Yeah.
People don't want to turn up every week to have the game not be scored and someone win and lose. That's the thrill of sport. It's like an addiction. You turn up one week, you lose, you get the shits, you kick stones for a little bit, and then you're like, nah, we're going to come back next week. We're going to win. We're going to beat this other team. Like the competitiveness is what is like the driving factor, the want to do better for yourself and for your team.
In a sense, you could say both of these statements are true and false, because they're what I love about sport is it has options for so many things that you can get out of it. Because like in a sense, there are sports and there are people that that don't care about the competitiveness, even though if it is a competitive match, they just play for the love of the sport. They play for the cooperation, they play for the participation. But that's what the beauty of sport in a sense, not professional sport, but in the beauty of sport in general, you can play sport and get 10 different things out of it than the next guy would. For me, I love the competitiveness. I love going back. I love winning. The thrill of winning, the heartbreak of losing just adds to it, wants me to play more. For one of my mates in soccer, he plays decent level where I play. but he doesn't really care about the result. Like, he likes winning and stuff, but he just wants to play. He just wants to play soccer.
Yeah.
He plays at that level where he can operate in a way that's as well as everyone else on the park, but he just cares about playing with his mates, but playing at a high level. So in a sense, sport has that beauty that you can get what you want out of it. And there's so many different levels, and there's so many competitions, and there's so many social leagues and so many sports that you can get that out of sport. But in a whole, I'd say majority of it is driven, based, and run through competition.
Yeah. See, I think that the competitive aspect of sport is what makes people want to turn up and do it, because at the end of the day, I don't feel like most people would want to turn up every week just for the sake of turning up. Like, you want something out of it.
I disagree.
Not everyone, but let me just put it like in the simplest form. If you were going to turn up every week to play a game, to have it not scored and everyone gets the same pat on the back, you get your participation ribbon every week, or you turn up and someone wins, someone loses, you get a draw, or whatever it might be. I feel like if it's just that everyone gets a pat on the back, let's all be friends, let's all I just feel like people would get bored of that. People would want something more.
That needs to be available in sports.
Yeah, the thing is that
to be available. They need to be 100%. Parallel. They need to be parallel in the sense that they're both available, because I think something that is great about sport is you see people get into sports and kind of niche sports and stuff later in life, right? They might not have the foundations and the building blocks that we had playing sport as like young kids. So when they get into later life, there's a lot of social sports that don't score, aren't competitive, but it's still sport, and it allows those people who didn't grow up with that competitiveness nature be able to play sports. Like, it just needs to be available. It doesn't mean it's purely about that, but sports like that social side, that not scoring, that just playing the game to either improve your skills or just have fun, needs to be available in all sports, I think anyway. And then you need to have that competitive nature in all sports till you can't play sport again, because there are people who just feed off that, like me. So in a sense, I don't think it's about it, but it needs to be available.
Yeah, I agree that you definitely need to have both sides. I think that the competitive side of it would need to be the biggest side. I'd probably have it as like a 80. I'd probably have it as like a 80-20, even a 90-10 split
because
towards the competitive side.
The higher you go, the more competitive it is.
But even at lower levels, like myself in my football team, we play at essentially the 8th division. It's still just as competitive as any other competition I've played in. Everyone turns up every week and still wants to win.
Yeah, well,
if we lose a game, people still get their heads down about it. They want to turn up and make a difference next week. So that's what I'm trying to say, is like, as much as participation is important, the competitiveness of the sport and the win or lose, like live or die type mentality around it, is what people keep coming back for. It's that thrill. It's that's like their ecstasy of it.
Well, let's put it like this: there are 13 divisions in Canberra of football, right? They're all competitive, from NPL 1 first grade down to State League 5 reserves, which is essentially State League 9 or 10. Right? And then there are 2 community leagues. So it is more available because more people want to be competitive, which is fine. But that community league system, which is a social league system, it's almost like drop-in. It's not drop-in like you can just turn up, but you don't have to play every week.
There's no real commitment surrounding it.
I don't think you have to pay. You might have to pay like a lesser amount just for insurance or whatever.
Yeah, it's only like $120 for a season or something like that.
And I don't think there's a ladder, and they'll score the games, but it's not a ladder. It's just a community fun league. That 2 leagues just needs to be available. And you're right. I don't think it will ever overcome the competitive nature of sports, but just that being available, I think, is essential to the sporting community, because that delves into people being able to be active, people being able to be social, things that they might not get out of regular life. So, yeah, in a sense, we're always going to be a part of that competitive nature of sport, but it's great that there is that less competitive nature, that cooperation side, that participation side that is available in all walks of life, not just when you're a kid, when it's probably more emphasized, but when you are older, when you are an adult or an elderly person, that is available.
Yeah, I think you summed that up pretty well. The participation side is definitely important to allow for anyone who wants to participate. But overall, I think that the competitiveness of sport is why people are attracted to sport. Otherwise, they would go and do the top. Yeah, otherwise they would go and do something else.
Yeah, and that's why we idolize sport heroes, because
exactly
that is
right.
what we want to see. All right. Well, that's the Wheel of Wonder. That's a really good conversation. Pretty tame. Not many arguments. I like it. Keep us friendships going on the right path.
Okay.
Now we move to a funnier segment, a lighter segment. Let's move to the reserve orange peeler of the week. And boys, we got to figure something out for Kyle, because he's just getting continuously stepped on. All right, I'm absolutely dousing him. I think I don't want to count anymore. I think it's 9-3, 9-4.
We're just going week to week basis. You're on a hot streak though. You're on about 3 on the trot.
Fire! I'm on fire. I've got many. Kyle said to me today, "Oh, I've got one. I already had it. I already knew what he had. So I pulled another one out of the bag, and I'm still gonna win." So
it doesn't mean that mine's not good though.
No, it's not good, because I picked it too, and I know what's good. But I've got two that even my backup or reserve orange peeler is going to kill your main one. So let's hear it, Kyle. I've already heard it, seen it, but show me more. Tell a story. Make it worthwhile that people vote for your peeler. You got to do something different.
That's a lot of chat for someone that hasn't won yet. I mean, you're very confident.
I'm confident.
My train of thought is, well, since you keep winning, what's your secret? What's your formula? And I've come down to the conclusion that the winning formula is cricket. So therefore, I have gone to your so-called magic bag and taken my orange peeler this week from cricket. Now, this one's at a local level of cricket. It's not a high competitive level, not like a professional. So we don't have a name for this gentleman. So I'm going to refer to him as Michael Dublé, because he's committed 2 offences in one play. He's a double peeler within the space of about 5 seconds.
Double peeler. Well, you needed something to spice it up. So let's see.
He's committed 2 felonies in one act. So he's the bowler at this local cricket game. He's come in, he's bowled his right arm, slow medium, over the wicket. The batsman has lobbed one back to him. Easy caught and bowled, chest height, drops it. Everyone goes off. He puts his head down, puts his head in his hands, shaking the head. The batsman's gone, all right, yeah, go quick single. They've gone for the quick single. He's then picked the ball up from point blank range. He'd be no more than a metre away. Easy run out, misses it. Fresh air, whoosh. So he's dropped the catch and he's missed the run out within the space of about 5 seconds. Now, you've seen it, but I want you to watch it again.
Show me again. I only saw it briefly.
Because it's still brilliant. Have a look at this poor fella. Drop catch. Oh, no, not me. Oh, misses the run out. Gone. Shocker.
One, why would the batsman run there? 2, he could have just walked up and thrown it at the bail.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. He's basically standing on the crease and he still misses the run out.
I wonder, like, it seems like pretty low level games of cricket, unless it's like high
it would,
cricket.
Yeah, it would be like a community.
But I wonder if they film it just for the purpose, because they're getting all these
stuff like that will
highlights out of it.
100%.
And make like an end of season compilation or something, because it's like filmed relatively well. Like for
it's like an umpire camera,
and that doesn't happen in Australia as much. So
I reckon they've probably just slapped the GoPro on the umpire's chest, and just because they know that in this level of cricket there's going to be stuff ups like that. And for British, our viewing pleasure, it's from England County Cricket. And thankfully for our viewing pleasure, we have been presented with Michael Dublé, my orange peeler for the week.
Nice. Well, that was cute, Kyle. But I've got another, I guess you could call him Michael Dublé in the sense
Well,
of
you
what
can't
happened.
because that's trademarked.
But we're going off to, I'm going to take yours. I'm going to take what you did last week and make it better. You know, I take what you do, make
so
it.
we've done a
make it
role
better.
reversal.
We've done a reverse card. We've done that card where you swap decks. Where you
swap the hands.
Yeah,
I hate that card so much.
And I've gone to football, and I've gone to the disastrous act of scoring an own goal. But this team didn't score one own goal, Carl. It scored 2 own goals in the space of 15 minutes. So we go to the Bundesliga, and the team, I believe, is Augsburg, FC Augsburg versus Bayer Leverkusen. And a little fact about this matchup. FC Augsburg has not beaten Bayer Leverkusen in the past 30 years, or some ridiculous stat like that. This is their bogey team. They can't
beat them.
win, and it just shows the fact that within the first 15 minutes, they score 2 own goals against their bogey team, and absolute howlers. So I'll kind of commentate as we go, but I want you to see them first, okay? And just
give me a look at these. So 2 in the same game.
2 in the space.
It's nearly unheard of. That's a good finish too.
He's the red team. He's come back to clear his lines. He's got all the momentum.
That's an absolute ripper of a finish. He's chipped his own keeper. Good glancing header at the front post. Those are 2 ripper goals as well. Too bad they're in the wrong net.
And that was the 3rd goal of the game for the other team. So both teams are just having absolute shockers. So I'll just show that first one again. It's funny. It comes from
Bayer Leverkusen are leading 2-1, but haven't actually scored a goal.
Yep. And this was actually Augsburg's first 2 goals in the competition this year, and they were both own goals.
Oh, well, I guess they won 3-0 in terms of goals scored.
And the game ended up being 4-1, sorry. So yeah, they continue against their bogey team, but those 2 own goals were absolutely hilarious, and both being in that kind of against your bogey team in the first 15 minutes. The first one drops down and he just comes to clear it and beautifully chips his keeper, and the second one, a lovely glancing header to the corner. So it just shows that as much as you can be paid millions of dollars to be a defender, you're still going to get absolutely roasted on the Reserve Orange Peeler Sports podcast if you do shit like that. So make sure you check out those videos and that poll and give me another victory, and we will see you next week for the Reserve Orange Peelers of the week. But of course, we're going to answer your questions. Let's get into the ball bag. How many questions we got, or what questions we got? We got some good ones. We've got some comments. What do we got?
We've got some comments from last week's episode, some follow-ups, and we've also got a bit of finals fever. So let's start there. First one from Adam. He says, who's going to win the AFL Grand Final? So
Adam, simply.
So next week.
Yeah.
Do you know the fixtures for next week?
Simply, Adam, I don't care. So Kyle, take it away.
So next week, we've got the Melbourne Demons playing against the Geelong Cats.
Okay.
And then the Port Adelaide Power will be playing last night's winners, the Western Bulldogs. So there you're 4 to pick from. Who are you seeing as the finals matchup? And then who's your winner?
I think it will be Port Adelaide versus the Demons.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Demons will get it done.
Really? The Flag D's.
Yeah, that's my intuition.
Yeah, well, since they're still in the hunt, you know, I can't go against Bont and his Bulldogs. After their heroics last night against the Lions, thrilling final quarter as well. I mean, I watched the end of that game and it was unreal, the back and forth. I mean, they did get a few favourable calls, to be honest, but they're there. So I reckon the Dogs will beat Port, and then Demons will beat Geelong. So it'll be a Demons Bulldogs, and I think it'll be a scrappy one. It'll be close. I think the Dogs will win.
Doggies, really? Nah, I think they're
Dogs.
I think they're pretending a bit this year. They've had the highest of highs, but I don't think they'll be able to get it done.
They had their come down, but I think that they're coming back up. I think they're on the way up.
I reckon Port will get over them pretty easily.
Port's probably got the firepower, but Bulldogs, I think,
who's the favourite?
Got the heart. Well, Port's the favourite for that. Well, the Demons are the shortest favourite. They finished first, so
yeah, I think they'll get it done, and that'll be a first premiership in a while for them, won't it?
Yeah, long time. I think nearly 50 years. 55 years.
I do care. I will watch the semi-finals and the final.
Yeah,
I'm hoping the NRL can bring some good games in the finals as well.
Well, that leads us to our next question: is who is going to make the NRL Grand Final, and can anyone beat the Storm?
Who's this from?
This is from Adam as well.
Look, Adam, in my heart of hearts, I don't think anyone can beat the Storm. But if I was going to put any team to beat the Storm, it would be Penrith. They're back to almost full strength. They've beaten them once in the year, very early on. And Melbourne coming off a loss against Parramatta, they fought back and won this week pretty comfortably. But I don't think. Look, I don't know. I think it'll be a Melbourne Penrith final. I think Penrith are just going to keep rolling their momentum in the semis. I reckon both of them will get a week off.
Yeah. Well, Penrith will play Rabbitohs, and then Storm will play Manly first week.
Yeah, well, I'd love to see Manly get above Melbourne and just play.
That'd throw a spanner in the works as well.
Yeah,
because then if Penrith win, then Storm and Penrith will end up having to play each other in a semi.
I feel like if Melbourne lose, they'll make the grand final anyway. But yeah, I'm gonna go Melbourne Penrith to make it in the traditional route, winning week 1, winning week 3, and being into the grand final. I've see absolutely no chance for any team outside the top 4, including the Roosters.
Roosters they're just short too many players.
Yeah.
Come this time of the season, you need to have as many of your first 17 fit as you can.
Who are they even playing?
So the Roosters will play Newcastle.
And Parramatta?
And Parramatta will play currently Sharks and then possibly Titans, depending on this afternoon's game. Because the Titans will need to beat Warriors by 12 or more.
They should.
But probably won't.
But they choke a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, and the Warriors do tend to upset people's plans.
Yeah,
Speaking from experience, we were supposed to beat them a month ago to make the finals.
Yeah.
And they beat us.
You play today?
Yeah, Tigers play Bulldogs.
Oh, yeah.
Honestly, I hope we lose.
Really? I could see Doggies winning.
Well, only because for me, this is a little bit of a sidetrack, bit of a tangent. But if the Tigers win this afternoon against the Bulldogs, that means that we're going to finish only 1 win out of the finals, which is then going to create the false image that they've actually had not that bad of a season when really it's been a terrible season.
No side outside the top 5 can say that they've had a good season. I don't think.
Or I think top 6 Roosters, you can say, have had a good season considering the.
Well, you think Parramatta have had a good season?
Well, they're up there. They had a good.
No, I included the Roosters. They're 5th.
Oh no, you said top 6. Sorry, top 5.
Outside the top 5.
Well, the Roosters are 6th, so.
No, they're 5th, aren't they?
No.
Is Parramatta 5th?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, then, disincluding Roosters, Parramatta, I don't think you can say has had a great season. They had a massive fall off. They should be finishing in top 4, 100%.
They should be. Yeah, definitely.
I think they'd be disappointed with that.
And fair enough too. Particularly since Manly started the season 0-4.
Yeah, exactly.
We're on the bottom of the table and are now 4th place.
Yeah. Anyway, I know what you mean with the Tigers. I think.
Yeah.
I think there needs to be huge.
It'd almost just be like the perfect nail in the coffin to try and accelerate change.
Yeah.
Because if they get a win this afternoon, it'll kind of mask over the fact that when you look back at the table, they'll only be a win out of the 8, and everyone can kind of go, "Oh, was it really that bad?"
Yes, it was.
But it's the games that got away from us. We could quite easily be on 26 points and be in 7th ahead of Newcastle.
Talking about the NRL, a little bit of another sidetrack. We saw something that we've been waiting for a long time yesterday. The race. We saw the race.
Oh, yes. Saab against
the Hammer. I believe, and the commentator believes as well, that Hammer actually didn't know that he was there. I reckon Hammer was running at 80%.
He didn't look like he was running at full tilt, but Jason Saab mowed him down real quick.
But it just showed absolutely class from the Hammer. He didn't even have to push him hard, and he just fell over.
That was a terrible tackle from Saab, though. It's a shocker of a cover tackle.
And I guess Hammer to be lucky, but he looked like he didn't panic. He still looked composed in that moment, even though he saw him coming after him. But he definitely didn't see him. And you saw the wheels of Saab. But it was good to see. Like Hammer burst off the gates like really quickly. And then I actually reckon he did slow down. I reckon from that gap, he would have beat Saab comfortably if he was at 100%. But it was cool to see. It was a good race.
But they should bring that in. They do it in the AFL.
Yeah,
at halftime. Just like all of the players that aren't playing on game day.
Yeah.
Do like 100-meter sprint with fastest from each club. So you want
them to. I think the only ones you'd really want to see would be them two, Xavier Coates and the Fox. I reckon they're tier 1.
I reckon you'd want to see someone maybe like a Pappenhausen.
Fox is quicker than
given a chance. Yeah, but like just that they have different types of speed. Yeah. That's why it's interesting to see.
Maybe James Roberts, but I don't know.
Yeah, James Roberts, Josh Papali. He's got some wheels. Big
12
papa.
meters.
Actually, that Harley Smith Shield's pretty quick. Just
not as quick as these boys. They're tier 1. They're tier
1. Not quite that quick, but still quick.
Special. All right. Well,
anyway, to our last question. Yeah, our final one. A little bit of a follow-on from the bigger picture last week comes from Sam. He says, "Josh, do you really still think bodybuilding is not a sport?" So Sam got quite passionate about this one. He's quite a fan of.
Yeah, sorry, don't want to.
Fellas like Ronnie Coleman and Chris Bumstead.
Don't want to insult Sam, the big man he is, the bodybuilder himself he is. But look, the poll we had was really close. It did go in the favor of bodybuilding being a sport. I will have to do more looking into it, but no, I haven't changed my mind as such. But I'm not putting it out of the question as much as I did before. So I'm slowly changing, but I'm yet to be convinced.
We'll have to send you through some documents.
I might watch a documentary.
Watch the documentary about Ronnie Coleman, the king.
Yeah, that normally gets me invested. Into something.
Or if you can somehow manage to get your hands on, the old Pumping Iron documentaries as well, they're meant to be very good.
I wonder if Sam's released a documentary about his bodybuilding journey.
There'll be one coming up shortly. I'm starring in it as well.
All right, guys, that's all we have time for this week. But thank you for listening to another lockdown episode of the Reserve Orange Peel Sports Podcast. I'm Josh Freeman. This has been Kyle Weeks, and we'll see you next week.
Peel's out.
For the corner. Oh, yeah! What about that one? Tell him, McCluskey. Tell him what time it is.